Good day. This is Wade Nars here with Ultimate Politics. We're down here at the Mile High Sports Radio Station, 1510 AM, 1570 up there for you folks in northern and northeast Colorado. My guest today is Joe Whitcomb. He's the candidate running for Senate District 3023, and that comprises Broomfield, parts of Weld County,
and Westminster, part of
Westminster, right. And I got a chance to hear Joe speak last weekend up in, actually a couple weekends ago, up in Greeley, and he really made a strong impression on the audience. He's got a very dignified background as an Army Ranger, and he's taken a lot of important stands that I personally agree with, and I hope that you'll get the same satisfaction from listening to him speak. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Wade.
Before we get into this, I want to talk about something that happened this week. Bill Ritter decided to kind of go over Mike Coffman's head and say that we need to have paper ballots. This is breaking this week, and that's good because voter integrity in elections is really good. And the issue here for you fans out there that aren't familiar with this, Mike Coffman decertified several electronic voting machines in the past, but there was still some problems, and there was still a push to try to bring those back online. And these Diebold type of machines have been known to have errors in voting and also have been proven unreliable through fairly simple computer tests. And what Bill Ritter did is he decided, to quote him, we're going to go back to the tried and true technology of paper ballots, which is kind of neat to hear a leader like that in our party stand up and make common sense judgments. You know, why spend millions of dollars on machines when paper ballots are way more reliable, way more effective? And it also overturned the idea to go to an all mail-in ballot, which also has some reliability problems. And for someone running for state Senate seat up in Senate District 23, I'm sure you're glad to hear that we're going to have a reliable voting method this fall.
Well, I think reliability is obviously paramount. But the other thing is, I think there's a lot of voters, myself included, who want to make sure. The fundamental right we have as Americans is to make sure that our singular vote counts as much as the person down the street from us, as much as the person in the next county, as much as the person in the next district. And I like a quote that a friend of ours, that a mutual friend of ours gave me, and he actually heard it when they were actually debating this downtown. A person who was a guru in IT was testifying before the legislature, and he said, listen, you know, I'm a computer guy by trade, and I love computers, but I don't use them to brush my teeth. So the point being is that computers have their function, have their use, and I think that, you know, we've gone so far afield in our idea, because it's all about instant gratification, isn't it? It's not really about accountability or about making sure that we can have, you know, everyone gets access to the ballot. It's about making sure that we can make the 10 o'clock news with the results, so we can have.
And ironically, last year in Denver, we had, or in the midterms, we had 2-hour, 3-hour waits because of these machines that are supposed to be faster and more reliable.
Right, and I just like the idea, and I think there's a good hybrid out there somewhere. I think there's a good hybrid of having mail-in accessible, so I think that some folks who feel comfortable with mailing in their ballots should have that access, should have that ability, and I think we need to have robust and sound collection centers where folks can come in and drop off their ballot. I just want to make sure my ballot makes it to the vote. You know, I want to make sure it gets counted and have it bring in. And then you have to take care of the folks who are unsighted, you know, who aren't able to see. Make sure that they have folks there that can help them get through the ballot. Folks who are trained and folks who are licensed to help and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that folks who are disabled have access to the voting. I mean, the most important thing we have to protect in our voting process is accessibility.
Right.
And accountability. And I think the paper ballot does that. And I think mail-in ballots, a hybrid of those two things, is a good way to go. And I think dependence on the technology that is flawed and underfunded, by the way,
truly,
is a bad way.
Yeah, I heard a good speaker, Brad, I believe his name is Brad Freeman from bradblog.com. He did a really good expose on problems with voting machines. But, you know, before we get sidetracked into that issue, we just want to say thank you to Governor Bill Ritter for putting integrity back in our voting process. Let's talk about your candidacy, Joe. Now, you were an Army Ranger. What years did you serve as an Army Ranger?
I went through my basic training and starting in November of '88 and got to the Ranger Battalion in April of '89. Then, just 6 months later, in December of '89, my 11th jump out of an airplane was into Panama into Operation Just Cause.
Wow. So
I was just a brand new Ranger baby. I was in E2, 19 years old, maybe 20. I think I was 20 years old, just turned 20. And I served in the Rangers until 1992. Got out for a little less than a year, actually, and then went back into service and served up in the 501st up in Alaska. Which is
what's the 501st?
There's an airborne parachute,
okay.
Another parachute infantry unit up in the 501st in Alaska. Got out into the civilian sector for about 6 years. I was in sales, marketing, and finance. And I did well in it. Wait, I did well. It never took.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, I just didn't lay my head on my pillow at night feeling great about the things that I had done. Not bad, it wasn't fulfilling. So I went back into service. I went into the Air Force this time in 2002 and served until I was medically separated in June of 2005. So
did you see any, I guess what you would call wartime action with this recent engagement?
When I went back in, the short answer is no. When I went back in 2002 in February, of course, you remember it was just after Operation before Iraqi Freedom, but Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan had kicked off. The unit that I was in had done some support stuff. I was a combat communicator in the Air Force. Fast forward, September 2002, I lost all the hearing in my left ear, and I stayed in for an additional 3 years, but eventually I was medically boarded. I was not deployable as a result of that hearing loss, so I got knocked out overseas. But I was able to serve in a supporting role, training troops specifically in Korea. Because of my Ranger experience, I was able to train.
Yeah. Now I want to talk to the people out there. If you don't know what a Ranger can do, what a Ranger basically almost has like a field doctor's experience as far as like. What kind of a special training do you guys have that goes above and beyond like regular, everyday?
The Rangers are, by their definition, their textbook definition, is a specialized light infantry unit. We're made for rapid deployment, 18 hours from mission to go. We're able to get wheels up and get into a location. Our specialties included airfield seizures. That's what we used. We did that in Panama. So we jump into an airfield, we secure the airfield. We secured the Panamanian airfield in about 37 minutes so that the following troops can land, and in our case it was the 82nd Airborne Corps and 82nd Airborne and the 10th Mountain Division. Did follow in the highest. We're small, there was about 2,100 total Rangers in the entire Army, so less than .01.
And yet it's a pretty high bar to get in that